All right, today we're going to be doing Lab 17B on electromagnets. So we want to see how electricity and magnetism are related. So we're going to bring back our circuit kits from chapter 16, but this time we're going to add our electromagnet along with our regular bar magnets. So we're going to follow these directions to set up our circuit, and then we're going to test what happens when we turn that electromagnet on and magnetize it. And then we'll go ahead and answer the questions from part 2. All right, for part 1, I have my magnet set about 1 centimeter away from our electromagnet. I'm going to go ahead and close the circle to see what happens. Currently that north side is facing our electromagnet. Oh, let's try that again, move it a little closer. There we go. So we can see that happen. I'm going to turn this around the other way and see what happens. So it just reversed over there. Now I'm going to change the battery and reverse how that is set up. And we'll try it again. So again, the north is facing here first, and it reversed. Now the south is facing, and there we go. Go ahead and answer part 2 now. Part 3, we're going to add a potentiometer and a compass to see how we can change the strength of that magnetic field with an electromagnet. We can use the compass as our measurement. So we're going to go ahead and attach everything as stated in our lab. And we're going to see what happens if I change where that permanent magnet is located. And you're going to see how that changes when I change the potentiometer. All right, so I have my permanent magnet over here. Right now we see that my compass has been deflected 20 degrees. We have the rest of our setup. So let's go ahead and put some current through our electromagnet to see what happens. So I try to set this up in a good spot for you. So right now the switch is open and I'm going to close it. And we can immediately see that needle changing. It went actually past the north, so I'm going to turn the dial here. There, then it's perfectly lined up. Later in the lab, we're going to be finding the current, so we're going to go ahead and do that now. All right, so I'm going to close that circuit by connecting here, and here we get our measurement for the current. Some kind of a glare, there we go. Now I'm going to move my magnet a little bit closer just to see what happens. Here we're now deflecting 40 degrees. You can't quite see the magnet, but there it is. Then I'm going to be changing this dial to see what happens. So closing the circuit, you see that moves it just over 20 degrees. And if I change this and increase the number here, that goes back closer to that 40-degree displacement. And as I keep on moving it, we get so it's almost all the way back there with all of this potential. And I can switch it back again and watch it move. So we can see there is going to be some electric charge going through here. Answer part 4 now. Part 5 tests the difference when we have that iron or the steel pin, or if we don't. We actually did this calculation in that previous part, in part 3, so you can use that value to go ahead and put the current with the bare coil into the steel pin, and then we can find the current and the percent difference. Now without changing the distance, I'm going to add the steel pin in here. I'm just going to scoot that out of the way. I can bring that back in. Well, maybe right here is fine. Doesn't need to stick out or anything. And again, this circuit's open. I'm going to move my magnet so it only deflects at 20 degrees. You can see as I move it, it freaks out a little bit. And right here is right at 20 degrees. So now I'm going to change the settings on the pot here, and I'm going to close the circuit. Whoops, I just moved that, to see what happens now. Oh wow, look at that huge change. So I'm going to open the circuit again. So it's deflected 20 degrees. I close, and it moves all the way over here with this rod now. Huge difference. So I'm going to change this potentiometer so it's only at that 20 degrees so I can go back to north. There we go. So now it's like it's setting like about 4.5. So let's go ahead. I'm going to open this and find the current. So now we see our current when we actually have the iron rod involved with that electromagnet. Last, we're going to go ahead and answer a question in part 6. So you can use your observations and maybe your calculations to help you answer. All done.